Hey guys, welcome into another YouTube video. In this video we're going to be discussing Radiant and all the results that I have achieved across a bunch of GPUs that I have. So firstly, I'm just going to point out that all these ones that are highlighted blue in here are the ones that I have tested, and the ones that aren't highlighted blue in here are the ones that I've just taken numbers from online, so they might be accurate, they might be inaccurate. I'm not 100% sure. They're just there to get a gauge. Just for a bit of perspective, really. So the best, most efficient cards that I've tested on Radiant are the 6800 in first place, the 3070 in second place, the 6600 XT in third place, and the 3060 in fourth place, and 6600 in fifth place. So I've got kind of a bit of a mix of 30 series cards and AMD 6000 series cards, but I have also tested some 5000 series cards here as well. So I've got 5700 XT and 5600 XT, but they're both Micron memory, so I don't have a Samsung memory of either of those to check, but naturally you can pretty much assume that it'll get roughly the same hash rate at about 10 watts more. That's generally the way it goes with the 10 watts less. It's usually 10 watts more for the Micron memory, roughly thereabouts. Obviously that's going to vary per GPU and how much power it's actually drawing, so but yeah, I'll put that there just so it gives a bit of an indication on how that GPU will do. But you can see that both these Micron memory 5000 series cards are showing up in the red at about 6.6 megahash per watt, whereas with the 30 series and 6000 series we're looking at 9 to 10 megahash per watt. So yeah, these aren't the most efficient. So I probably wouldn't recommend using them. Even the Samsung memory 5700 XT doesn't seem that efficient. Yeah, I don't have any numbers for the 3070 Ti, but I think it might even be a little bit more efficient than what I've got there, but can't say for sure. And yeah, I'll show you all the settings. So I've done a previous video where I tested the 6000 series cards, and I put all the settings in here for you guys to see, but I've just changed this one here, so the 6600. So the same issue, I put out another video and then I corrected it before, and I had the same issue with this one. I think might have already put it out, but yeah, I just had the core clock wrong because I'd done some testing in an order that just changed how things work. So I had it wrong because I tested it in the wrong order. So I had the core clock up at 1600, I believe, in that video. So I just dropped it down, redid all the core voltage and all that, and had better efficiency. So yeah, that's why this is highlighted yellow, because I've changed it since the last video. And then yeah, all these ones down here are the ones that I've done as well since the last video. So I also did the A2000. So again, setting that up in the miner to have a core clock and a core offset, which is just basically lowering the voltage that the GPU takes to achieve the same hash rate. And pretty much everything's around that 810 memory clock mark, except for a few of the 6000 series cards. They just had better results at a higher memory clock, but that all goes out the window when you do the memory tweak anyway, so it's not really too relevant. Yeah, so you can see on this table, hopefully you guys can read it. You should just be able to bump up to 720 pixels, and you should be able to read it even on a phone and all that, and you can pick out the settings that you want to use. Some important things are like this memory tweak here. So for all the AMD cards, I'll pretty much just show you how to do that. So I've actually already applied the memory tweak to this one, so I don't know what will happen if I apply it again, but I guess we'll find out. So what you need to do, this is best practice. I think you don't need to actually stop the miner, but for best practice, stop the miner while it's already running. So you've already booted the rig, rebooted the rig since the last time you've changed any settings down here. Then you stop the miner, come up here to run command, and click on this one here. So you'll have to copy and paste it in the first time. But then once you've done that for the first time, it'll just sit here in recent commands, which is really convenient. It means that you can actually still use it when you're on your phone. So when you if you've done this on the computer at least once, I don't know if you can do it easily the first time on a phone, but if you've done it on the computer at least once and that's in your recent commands, then you use it on your phone in the future. It'll just be in the recent commands and you can just click on it. It's super easy. So you don't have to be using the browser version like I've got here, or you don't have to be using a desktop version, I should say. And then at the end of that, you restart the miner, and that is the memory tweak kind of setup. And the other thing that I'll show you is how to set up the commands in the flight sheet. So obviously this flight sheet isn't in use at the moment because I have AMD cards on the rig, so you can't actually apply a miner that doesn't support AMD cards. So I'd have to show it to you this way. So this is BZ miner, and these are the commands that you use. So you just want it to look like that, and the last command there is OC locked memory clock. And from that table, you can see 1550 plus 500, so that's 1550 locked, and then 500 on the offset. So 1550 locked right there, and 500 on the offset, and then 810 is pretty much for all of them. Set 810 because that's the lowest that Hive OS can actually apply on any GPUs. Yeah, so that's how you do that. And then once you apply settings in here and you apply changes and you update the miner, it'll restart the miner. So you don't have to reboot the rig for the Nvidia cards doing that way. But with AMD cards, there's no reason to put it in the miner because they only use locked core clocks anyway. Locked core and memory clocks. So there's no such thing as an offset for a AMD card. So you just chuck the numbers here and it'll have the same effect. And that is pretty much all I have for this video. So you can look in here. The settings that you want are just in this little block here. You just copy the ones that are relevant to what you need and you should be good to go. I'll just say that if you put the settings in and it doesn't work, it crashes immediately or whatever, the most likely thing is that you need to increase your millivolt settings. So there's 4 of those. There's the core voltage, which is this one here, memory controller voltage here, or VDDCI, and the memory voltage, or MVDD, which is this one, and the SoC VDD max, which is this one just here. So you just increase each one of those by 10, and then you reboot the rig, and it should hopefully be stable. If it's not, you just repeat that, increase by 10 again, or increase by 20, and reboot it. So things that'll make it not work are things like having a different model to me. So you can see with the model of card I have down here. So some cards will just apply things slightly differently. So you can go to lower voltages. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's more efficient. Even if it's saying lower power draw in the software, that does not mean it's more efficient. Like this 6600 MSI, it reports much less software power draw all the time. It just always does that. But it's not actually using any less power. So yeah, just things to keep in mind. And yeah, bump up those voltages if it crashes. Make sure your drivers are up to date and that you've got the current version of the miner. So that's why I put the miner version in here that I've used to get those results, just so you guys can make sure you're on the same version, and that should avoid any issues. Sweet. So that's all I've got for this video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. Have a great day. See ya.